Hello and welcome to the Lucky Frog Gaming Podcast. You are joined by your usual tired hosts. I'm a little tired. I don't know about you. We've just been playing Root.
Yep.
That's what we've been doing this evening, so we'll have a chat about that.
Yeah, I need counselling after that.
Yeah, Ben didn't have a good time.
That was a really bad game. But I mean, I can't complain too much because the last time I played, I won quite comfortably with the River Folk.
With the Otter Mafia.
Which is apparently quite hard to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, we'll chat about that in a moment, but have we got any relevant tabletop news?
It's still a bit quiet out there, you know, considering there's not really any events. And if anything, actually, events for next year are starting to get cancelled as well. I know Aircon's not going ahead. I think there's a couple of others. So, yeah, that's a bit rubbish.
Indeed.
But we've got some controversial gaming news, actually.
All right.
Yeah, there's a company that some of you may or may not be aware of. They're called AK Interactive.
Okay.
You heard of them?
In passing, yeah.
So they make the thing that they originally did was they made like scenery products for like tabletop and modelling.
Okay.
That kind of thing. So it's like for scale modelling in general, not just tabletop stuff, but they make a lot of like really cool, like I've got some of their moss and mud effects and things like that. They do like very specific things that you didn't necessarily know that you needed. Yeah. But work really, really well. They've since branched out, like they've got their own paint range and all that now, you know, like a lot of these companies. So they're fairly big. They're a Spanish company. And they, I mean, you can't even call it a boo-boo. I don't know what they were thinking when they were doing this, but essentially it was a piece of PR to launch a new book they're doing called Condemnation.
Right.
What Condemnation is, just to give a bit of context, is it's a book that aims to deal with some, you know, what they refer to as like some like controversial and darker themes. Like some of it's stuff like I don't really know why you would want to be modelling that. Like, I had a look at the product page for it, and there's like a picture of there's like a model of a guy shooting up. There's like a rubbish clogged river in Africa, stuff like that. So it's supposed to be, I guess, dealing with the unpleasantness in the world. Yeah. I don't really know why you necessarily need a book dedicated to that to model all of that stuff. You know, a lot of the time, like these books, like I've got one I was showing you earlier, and it's painting fantasy miniatures. So it's all quite surreal colours, and it's showing you how to paint things like that. So they're launching this new book called Condemnation, and this post has since been deleted, but I'm going to read it out to you.
Ben saved it for posterity.
And all joking aside, trigger warning here, because there's some pretty insensitive stuff about the Holocaust mentioned here. I'm not even. I did not think I would ever have to say that about like tabletop stuff, but yeah, in all seriousness, it's so. I'll go ahead and read it out.
Okay.
It says the post is titled "The Harsh Reality," and it says, "Are you ready?" 4 grams of Zyklon B, a pesticide made from cyanide, largely used in prison camps of Auschwitz and Orenburg, are enough to cause a dreadful death. Jews, gypsies, gays, and every individual who showed any hint of dissidence in front of the Aryan postulates were the right candidates for confinement and extermination, just like a plague of insects and rodents. During the Nazi barbarism years, all those people were considered subhuman beings who had to be erased from the world. They were not women, men, or children anymore. They were infectious rats who were putting in danger the German utopia and had to be treated as rats. How do we deal with rats? Using poison, of course. And there's a Spanish translation of that text.
Right.
And obviously this is a podcast, so there would be no point in showing this anyway. But there was an actual picture of human remains from a gas chamber in this post. And this was used to promote the book Condemnation. Josh is just in stunned silence at the moment. Like he looks like he's trying to process it, but
well, let's address the obvious. That is just so insensitive.
Yeah, completely.
And I think we've talked a little bit previously about historical context in games, because it comes up things like colonialism. Colonialism.
Yeah, try saying that while drinking you.
Colonialism.
You can confirm
colonialism.
It's difficult.
Yeah. Colonialism. Yeah. But no, but at least with that, a few centuries between us.
Yeah,
and that,
because there are still people alive who lived through this.
Yeah. So apart from that obvious point as well, the thing that kind of strikes me is who is this marketed for? See, if I came over one day and you were saying, "Oh, Josh, got something really cool to show you.
Yeah.
I've built a to scale model of Auschwitz."
Yeah.
And then I think at that stage I'm like, Ben, is everything all right?
Yeah.
Who's literally just trying to think of it now. The only legitimate way I can think of using that is if you're a museum.
Yeah, why would you be? It's a bit like, I'm in a lot of different modelling groups, not just tabletop gaming, and one of the things I find quite difficult is when you see someone who's painted a bust of like a Waffen SS officer or something like that, because it's like I feel like there's a bit of leeway with a war game, because you're reenacting
a
historical battle, and you can't just have Americans fighting Americans. Someone has to have
someone has to be a Nazi. Yeah. If you're playing World War II.
Someone has to be playing the fascist right. So you understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that makes sense. But when someone paints a bust of an SS officer, it's a bit like, right, that is just for display. So, is that going on your mantelpiece or in a cabinet? Like
the cabinet with the rest of them.
Yeah, because it's kind of like you're sort of enshrining people like that when it is just for display.
I can
and I feel I can't help but feel like outside the context of a museum or like an educational diorama, why would you want
that in your house?
Yeah, well, but even to use them so weird. But I guess in this context, the more tame example, the random guy shooting up.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you want that?
I don't know. Maybe if you were if you're a model railway enthusiast, you want to make your diorama of Crewe train station a bit more realistic.
But it's like when you said earlier, who's this book marketed at? It's like, well, the only thing I can think is, are you a modeler and also a psychopath? Have we got the book for you?
I mean, yeah. I wonder how big that Venn diagram crossover is.
Having seen some of the comments and things like that, a little bit bigger than you'd like to say.
So in the comments section, were people supportive of it? Were they?
You had one or two people who I think were just there to be controversial. Usual, the kind of people that use language like snowflake and social justice warrior.
You social justice warrior, blocking our book and model products about the bloody Holocaust.
Yeah.
You're too sensitive for that. Jesus
But
Christ.
I have to say the response was overwhelmingly negative, and they did issue an apology.
Because it's not just it's not just what the content is. It was that statement that they put out as well was just weird.
Yeah. So this is I'm going to read the apology.
Okay.
At AK Interactive, our intention has always been to push the boundaries of our hobby. Yesterday we posted some content online to advertise our new book Condemnation that offended many, and for that we sincerely apologise. It was not our intention to offend, and we deeply regret that it had this effect. In the morning we launched a hard-hitting advertising campaign for our new publication, which contained graphic images and phrases from historical texts that many found offensive. The content we posted portrayed human suffering in its most extreme form and was accompanied by articles from the Declaration of Human Rights. This was designed to demonstrate the disconnect between the ideal of human rights and the lived experience of so many throughout recent history. We kept those videos online for a period of time, during which time they were viewed several thousand times, and then removed them, advertising the book through another video that was also then taken down. Our aim in posting this content was to generate the feelings of rage and indignation, we certainly did that, that such human tragedies generate when they first occur, and while this anger can persist, all too often these tragedies are soon forgotten and their memory disappears as if they'd never happened. This is the object of Condemnation. It is designed as a humble piece of social commentary capturing such tragedies as the Vietnam War, the genocide in Rwanda, and the disappearance of the ROC and the ravages of drug addiction so they are not forgotten. The concept behind Condemnation was to assemble a team of first-class modellers to capture something of these events and themes in miniature through a series of vignettes and dioramas made with painstaking and painful realism. It is an unconventional approach to our hobby, but one we believe has a valid place within it. We hope modelling can be a tool for social commentary, raising awareness and causing the audience to ask fundamental questions. We approach this difficult subject with care, taking the advice of journalists who worked in conflict settings and with organisations who work in the field of human rights. We decided upon an advertising campaign that would recreate the same feelings of disgust, horror and rejection as news of the events themselves would do. It was designed to prick our readers' conscience, like the theme of the book itself. We knew it would be controversial, but we accept that the content shared as part of the advertising campaign was a misjudgment on our part, and that we underestimated the offence it would cause. AK Interactive is committed to human rights. Proceeds from Condemnation will go to local NGO Ethiopia that works towards the reconstruction of Ethiopia, a country that has suffered from several decades of civil war. As a company, we have supported local charities and initiatives during the worst months of the COVID-19 pandemic. We donated several thousand euros to different organisations. On this occasion, we got it wrong and we wholeheartedly apologise for any offence caused by our advertising campaign and the images and sentiments it portrayed. We do believe modelling can act as social commentary and that the content in Condemnation is one means by which we can explore and reflect upon some of the darker sides of the human condition. And we sincerely hope that one day the Universal Declaration of Human Rights will truly encompass all of humanity.
They don't mention the Holocaust bit in that at all.
No, and it's like wanky art student patter, isn't it? Like
it feels a bit like that.
They apologise that people are offended, not for what they did.
Aye.
So it's a pretty hollow apology, and it puts the onus on the people
who were offended.
That were offended, like it's their fault that they were offended.
I mean, like
they're not taking full responsibility for what they did.
Yeah, I mean, and they acknowledged that they knew it would cause offence in that, because only a moron would believe it wouldn't cause offence.
Yeah,
but like they acknowledge in that post that they knew that it would cause some offence.
So people were still appalled.
Okay.
At that, because it's a crap apology.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that you were offended.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, like we've all had an apology like that before, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry that you were offended, and it just makes you angrier, doesn't it?
I'm sorry you didn't like what I did.
Yeah, it's like, well, actually, I find your apology quite offensive as well.
This is making everything worse.
Yeah, so they issued another statement.
It's a super apology now.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
AK Interactive would like to apologise sincerely and wholeheartedly, and we deeply regret the advertising campaign for our new book, Condemnation.
There we go. That's what you
there
should.
You go. Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
It was crass, and we accept it was wrong to use images of human suffering. We have therefore removed the campaign. We admit our failures and intend to learn from them in the future. AK Interactive and the book condemns genocide, terror, and all actions that go against the Universal Declaration of Human Rights.
So, okay, alright, they've done a better apology at least. I don't think this quite addresses everything though, because, like, I still think that's an inappropriate subject matter for modelling.
Well, if I was their PR guy,
mm-hmm.
I would be saying to them, I think that we should rethink issuing this book. I know that you've put a lot of money into it.
Yeah.
But we need to think ahead. We need to think of what this could potentially do to our brand long term.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it's going to rankle. You've paid to have all this stuff commissioned. You've paid to have it all printed. I think a lot of damage.
Who is doing the modelling for them though? Like,
I don't.
Can you imagine
get
like a commission like that? Like, I want you to. I want Ben.
Right, well, I am a commission artist now, so
I want you to paint I want you to paint this miniature of a dude shooting heroin.
Yeah, I'm not just saying this, but I wouldn't be comfortable doing that.
Yeah,
I'm actually, because we've talked about it, because one of the big things in miniature painting and modelling is pin-up miniatures.
Right. Yeah.
And I've actually said to Charlotte, I don't know if I'd be comfortable doing one of them.
Yeah, fair.
Maybe that's me being a bit prudish, but I don't know.
I mean, what are their stats in 40k? Like,
well,
good?
They'd all be Slanesh, right? Yeah, like, for sure. Yeah, but it's the second apology was much better, right? But why?
Yeah, okay, yeah, sure. To give them the smallest bit of credit, they got it. They got the apology right the second time round.
Yeah.
But I don't know, what are they thinking? The whole thing seems like a big misstep.
At the same time though, it got me thinking about how unforgiving the internet can be as well.
Yeah, sure. I think the internet's a bit justified in this case.
Yeah, but let me explain.
Okay.
So after they issued the second apology, apologising for the half-arsed apology and for the campaign in the first place, taking full responsibility for it, there were still people calling for more. So like people were telling them, this isn't enough, you need to do this or you need to do that.
What are the things that they need to do?
One of the things they were saying is that all of the money from the books should go to charity.
I mean, they probably just shouldn't release the book at
this
point.
Is what I was thinking, but it got me thinking about, like the sort of mob rule that is the internet at times. Because you get this, don't you? Like with it happens all the time with like badly aged tweets.
Oh God!
With celebrities.
I'm so glad I don't use Twitter.
Yeah, but like they'll want people to answer for a statement they made like 10 years ago when they were 12.
Yeah.
And they want them to be held to account, and they do make it's almost like a hostage situation. They've got their list of demands. They want them to lose their job.
Yeah.
They want them to do some community service, and they want them to make a public video apology, and then I'll start releasing the hostages.
I suppose the other thing, I suppose if you're on the receiving end of that though, like, is the response like, well, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah. I was appalled.
Absolutely.
Because I saw the original post.
I mean, I haven't seen any of the accompanying photographs. I don't particularly want to. I'm frankly just flabbergasted. That's how strongly I feel about this. I'm using the word flabbergasted.
A very English word.
Yeah, flabbergasted for the fact that they were even. This was even a project to begin with. What on earth?
Yeah, it's like there's several checkpoints that they've just completely bypassed through the whole process.
I suppose, and it's kind of like what I suppose. You have to ask yourself, okay, what is the line? I don't know where the line is, but I'm sure like using modelling to represent those things is definitely trivialising it.
Yeah. I think at the same time though, like what they've done has to be taken in context.
Mm-hmm.
It was very poorly judged.
That first post was ridiculous.
Yeah, terrible. It was an absolute PR disaster. I don't know if I'd go as far as to say it's unforgivable though, because at the end of the day, they posted offensive material in a very insensitive context.
Sure. I mean, like, it's difficult for me because I've like no investment in this company whatsoever. Like, I have no. I don't buy their products. I don't follow them.
I own quite a few of their products, and I actually quite like AK Interactive products. So when you see something like this, you start going through that process of like, okay, well, what do I need to do here? Do I boycott them? Do I stop using their products? I know a lot of people feel so strongly about this that they're like full on boycotting them. But I think an apology always has to be considered.
Mm-hmm.
And I think maybe it's silly, but I always think about like, because I make mistakes,
and
it's my hope that I hope I never do anything that's catastrophically stupid in a public, do something that stupid
like that misguided,
particularly in like a public sphere. But it is my hope that if ever I asked someone for forgiveness and was sincere, that I would get it. So I feel like I kind of need to give other people the benefit of the doubt there.
Okay, I suppose wait and see what their actions are, I guess. Like I say, I think the right thing for them to do is just not publish this book.
I agree.
Like, I don't see what good could possibly come out of that they've probably lost a lot of money on it, but you know what? You probably should have thought a lot more about it than you know.
Do you think we should stop using their products?
I don't, like I say, I don't know. Like, it's difficult for me to answer because I don't use them in the first place.
Because this is where I'm stuck, right? Is that people need to be forgiven.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if they publish that book, they are indirectly profiting from suffering.
Yeah. So maybe like wait to see if they publish the book.
Yeah.
But it's a difficult one for me to answer, like I say, because that's like asking me. It's like asking me to boycott space travel, right?
You've got no investment in it. Yeah.
Sure.
Like, yeah.
All right, I won't go to the moon, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, that's just so weird, though. Like, how many people were involved in that project, and they were like, "Yeah, this is fine."
Well, I mean, it is a modelling company, so it's still going to be a pretty small team in the grand scheme of things, right? But
even still, though.
But like several modelers were involved in that.
You'd have thought, like, and I kind of hope that the people they approached weren't the first people. Like, I'd like to think someone got that commission and just went, "No, I don't want to do that." Like,
I certainly I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't feel comfortable doing something like that.
So as far as we know, though, they're pressing ahead with this publication.
That's the last I've heard.
Okay.
We'll keep an eye on it, and we'll keep our listeners posted on it. But
I'd say we'll have links in the show notes. I'm not sure if I want to link this.
No, well, the original post has been removed.
Yeah.
I just took a screenshot of the text on the original post, so I don't even have the photograph.
Okay.
to show people.
I mean, how bad?
I don't want to show it to people.
Okay.
It's like pictures of the inside of a gas chamber.
Jesus.
And pictures of human remains. It like really quite like nightmare stuff, you know.
I just can't get my head around it.
I mean, that's why I said at the beginning, like, trigger warning, because like even the stuff because they like essentially that first post they used was alluding to the fact that in the book they're going to show you how to recreate these gas canisters that they used.
Exactly, this is my point. It's like, who wants to know that? Really? Who's building this? Yeah. Oh man.
It's really, yeah. It's like wanky art student stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, we apologise if anyone was offended. You just don't get it, you know, that kind of thing.
Oh.
You're like, no, you just don't get it.
So yeah, so that's where that is in that story. They've issued this apology, but they are still publishing this book. That's
where we are from what I understand.
We'll move on from that, and we'll keep you posted if there are any developments on that story.
Yeah.
But yeah, gaming wise, we haven't been up to an awful lot. We had a game of Root tonight, though.
We did.
You picked up basically all the Root.
Yeah, because I mean, it seemed a bit rash, but at the same time, this game just disappears whenever it goes to the shop. So I thought, I'm going to get the game, and I'm going to do the thing that I always try to dissuade myself from doing, and
buy everything.
Bought all the expansions, because there's always a temptation to buy all the expansions. But I've learned from bitter experience. A lot of the time, like, you'll buy a game, you don't like it that much, and then you're stuck with all these expansions for a game that you're...
I don't think we have a risk of that with Root, though. So, like, we've talked about Root previously when we've played it on the podcast. A great game, deceptively I'd say deceptively complex. It's only deceptively complex because of the art style, really.
Yeah, that's the art style belies like the game itself, because like cutesy woodland characters makes you think that it's going to be pretty simple, streamlined mechanics.
No, this is a war game.
It's a streamlined game, but it's a complex game.
Yeah. So we were all playing new factions to us.
New factions to us, but we decided to just use the factions in the base set.
Yeah.
So that we could like wrap our head around the game, because each of us only has like a little experience playing it, and any time we've played it before, we've played it with someone who's like pretty experienced at it. So we thought, let's just start from scratch, just the base game, and see how we get on.
Yeah. So you were playing the Marquis de Chat.
I think it is Marquis de Cat.
Okay, sorry.
I think they are...
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I remember now. Yeah. I'll leave that in. If nothing else, it's funny.
Yeah.
So, Iona can like post in the comments and explain what that translates to in English.
Yeah.
But you were playing the Marquis de Cat.
Yeah.
Charlotte was playing the Eerie, the overly aggressive birds.
Yeah.
And I was playing the Woodland Alliance.
Yeah.
The plucky underdog.
Yeah.
Although they really don't feel like much of an underdog when you play them.
They're pretty strong.
Yeah.
I think. But they're like guerrilla fighters, right? Yeah. They're supposed to be like resistance.
I mean, they're big. And spoilers, by the way, I won as the Woodland Alliance. Their big weakness is you start with no board presence whatsoever.
Yeah.
I think, like, certainly when I'm going to be playing Root going forward, if someone's the Woodland Alliance, I'm going to be keeping a very close eye on where they're trying to gather support, because you just need to crush that immediately.
Yeah. Nip them in the buds, because it's hard to shift them afterwards.
Yeah.
I think the Marquis de Cat are a good faction for the game, in that they're very straightforward.
Yes, that was the first faction I played when I tried it.
Build and expand.
Yeah.
So it's like the core mechanics of most war games. So I think if you're totally new, that's the faction you want to play. I didn't like playing as them.
No.
I felt there was a lot there. It didn't feel like there was enough stuff for me to do.
Yeah.
But I've prior to tonight, I'd played 2 games of Root, and I played as the Riverfolk, who are like one of the most techie factions.
You're the Otter Mafia, basically.
Yeah, and they're great fun to play as. And I think because I got really frustrated, like I said to you, I just like felt like crying. Like, because there's like nothing for me to do, and every time I tried to do something, I just get shut down.
Well, this is it. Yeah, what I noticed in my first game when I played as them was people are always attacking you, like because you, in the setting of
you're the antagonist, right?
Yeah, you're the big bad.
Yeah,
like and you are everywhere at the start of the game, so of course people are gonna target you initially. The Eerie seem like a really weird faction to try and play.
Yeah, they seem. I think it's safe to say I think the 2 easiest to play are probably Woodland Alliance and Marquise de Cap.
Yeah, Vagabond's fairly.
And the Vagabond.
The Vagabond is you're playing a completely different game though.
Yeah, you're basically like an.
You're playing a little RPG.
Yeah. You play like a little mini. You're just doing your own thing.
Exactly.
And you actually have like quests to do.
What I love though is because like Ben has literally picked up everything. There's a little pack, the Vagabond pack.
Yeah.
They've got little individual wooden tokens.
Like a badger and like a weasel and stuff like that.
So depending on which Vagabond you end up picking, you've got a different one.
You've got all of them.
I think is neat.
And they're beautiful little tokens as well.
I said it last year when we were first talking about this game. Like, aesthetically, it is phenomenal. Like, this is one of the best looking games I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I love the art style. All the components just look like those lovely little wooden pieces.
Everything feels
so full of character and
everything feels really high quality. But one of the things, like, it seems a really simple thing, but one of the things that I love most about the game is it's a big game with a lot going on, but it fits in a very compact box.
Right.
There's no no space in the box is wasted.
It is. They have trimmed all the fat.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I definitely want to play more of it. Do you think next time we'll maybe introduce some expansion content?
Yeah, I'd say so. Mm-hmm. I feel like we've kind of sussed again, the rhythm of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So I think like changing up some of the factions isn't too.
I want to have a go. The one of the factions are the lizards. The cult of lizard, is it?
I think so.
And they basically score points from getting killed, which is just a weird sort of mechanic.
But yes, they're like the religious fanatics, aren't they? Martyrs. So, yeah, I think I'd quite like to go as the Riverfolk again. But I've got everything. So we've also got the Corvid Conspiracy and the Underground Duchy.
Oh, the mole people.
Yeah. So and like the artwork's phenomenal. And I've also got the Clockwork expansion, so it means that we can chuck a couple of AI characters in if we want as well.
So that's good. And I didn't realise until you told me earlier tonight they are in production with a role-playing game set in the setting.
They've not long done the Kickstarter for it.
Yeah.
I think you basically play... Because although we've mentioned this Vagabond faction within... You choose to play a Vagabond and then you choose your class.
Mm-hmm.
So they are basically adventurers. And you've got all different kinds. And I think in this role-playing game, everyone's basically...
That would be really cool.
One of the Vagabond classes.
What woodland animal would you want to be if you were a Vagabond?
I think I'd want to be an otter.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
fair enough.
I like the Riverfolk. And I would... Maybe like a ranger?
I don't know. I always think it's not a woodland character. I suppose I always picture myself. I would be a dog in the animal kingdom. Well, some sort of Labrador.
All right, yeah, but it's woodland creatures. Get with the program.
Can I just be a pet that's spoiled at home and not go on this adventuring lark?
You could be like a fox or a wolf.
Do you think I'm like a fox or a wolf though?
No.
No, exactly. Right, that doesn't fit me.
If you were a woodland animal, probably I think like a squirrel.
Why a squirrel?
Because they're just like always thinking about their next meal, aren't they? They're just like hoarding food and.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think probably a squirrel.
Okay. I'll take squirrel. There's worse things to be than a squirrel.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. There we go. So I don't know when does that come out then? Will that be next year?
Role-playing game.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
That'll be next year, right?
To check it. But it uses the same artwork and everything.
Yeah. I think that would. I think there'd be a riot if they changed the art style.
The artwork's incredible. I love it.
It reminds me. Did you ever read Redwall as a kid?
It's a bit like Redwall, isn't it?
Yeah, except Redwall, they always had like this sort of like almost realistic style artwork to their anthropomorphic creatures. But
it's got a kind of kids storybook aesthetic to it, I think.
Yeah. No, I love it. I love it, and we'll definitely play more Root, and we'll keep you posted on that.
I'm not playing as Marquis the Cat again, though.
No.
Such a dreadful experience.
I think I'm gonna have another crack at them. See if I can make it work.
I know that Jamie had said that he's never played in a game where they've won.
Yeah.
So I think there's maybe like an element of the simplicity of them makes them good for a beginner, but it also means they don't really have any tricks up their sleeves.
Yeah.
Whereas most of the other factions do. Like the Woodland Alliance have so many like reactive things. And I think this is maybe where like I think if someone's tried Marquis the Cat, it's like give the Woodland Alliance a go.
Mm-hmm.
Because most of the stuff that they do is reactive. It just happens. You don't actually have to do it. It's a case of like as long as you remember it, it happens.
I certainly felt they were quite a strong faction when I was playing them. So,
yeah. And I like from what I can remember, any time I've seen anyone playing as them, even if they've not won, they've always had quite a strong showing.
Yeah.
So I think the last game that we played, I think Tom was the Woodland Alliance.
Okay.
And the first ever game I played, Jamie played as them. So like they're almost always contender material.
But yeah, we'll definitely be playing more. But with that note, I think that's all we've got time for.
With bloodshot, bleary eyes.
I'm so knackered, man. With that note, until next time, guys, take care and thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.